Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, and I'm taking care of business. Joining me today is Tanya Eklund, who is a realtor with the Tanya Eklund Group in Calgary. Thanks again for joining us, Tanya.
Thanks for having me, Mario.
Let's talk some MLS numbers. January is gone. I know the official numbers will come out, but it looks like MLS sales for the month of January were up around 66% year over year. Now, the thing to bear in mind here is that 2021 was a record year in Calgary for MLS sales. So what the heck's going on? Why is it so busy?
Oh, Mario, I was in Hawaii and got back Jan 15th, and things were just starting to pick up. And on the Monday, I think it was the 17th, it did a 180. And in 21 years of real estate, I've never seen a market go from here to here, what felt like overnight. Really what's driving it is high demand and low supply. Low interest rates. The feds were going to raise them on Jan 26th. They've extended another 60 days. They're talking about 3 rate increases throughout the year. So I think there's maybe a little bit of rush for some people, especially in that first-time home buyers to get their purchases in. And that's where we're really seeing the market flourish, is in the detached home sector. Under 500, even under $1 million detached, things are selling in a day. We're seeing homes sell for 125,000 over list. It's really quite extraordinary.
And you mentioned the inventory. I know listings were up about 10% year over year, new listings, that is. But the active listings and the inventory was down about 35% compared to
35.
Why are we having that issue with inventory and continue to have it? We've had it for about a year at least now.
I think one of the big drivers in that, Mario, is people are fearful of listing their homes and having nowhere to go. Even our vacancy rate in rentals is extremely low. It's very hard to find a rental in the detached home sector or a duplex. So people want to list their homes and sell, but especially people with families, they can't, go in an Airbnb with 3 kids and 2 dogs for a month or 2. It's difficult. So I think that if there was more inventory, we'd see a lot more people bring their homes to the market. Yeah.
And now, we've entered into February, and we're heading towards that spring market. It's going to have, I would imagine that from your perspective, it's going to be one of the busiest spring markets you've ever seen.
I mean, it's hard to beat last year. And for those of us old folk who have been here for many, many years, I mean, it takes me back really to 2006 in Feb, where our inventory levels were similar to what they were now, very similar. And I mean, we had people, back in the day, we'd line up down the block, 35, 40 people deep, and present our offers to the sellers. And I do think that is going to, be another spring like that, unfortunately, which is really difficult for these buyers that really want a home. It's great to sell, but very frustrating and hard for these buyers.
Yeah. And I imagine, the prices are an indication of what's happening with the demand and the supply, right? Simple economics, right? Median price was up about 11% year over year. The average sale price up about 8%. Do you foresee the prices just to continue to rise?
I do. We're seeing these homes be bid up so high. There was a home yesterday that was listed at $779 and it sold for $901,000. She had 41 showings in 2 days and 16 offers.
Wow.
And buyers pleading and sending photos of their families and talking about their children. And so it is a really hard time. And the listing agent, who is also the seller, the owner of the property, said, it's bittersweet. We got a big dollar for our home, but it's really hard to see these families not finding a home. The other challenge that we're seeing that I think is affecting inventory is we have a lot of investors coming into Alberta from East and West, from Ontario and British Columbia, more than I've ever seen in my career. We are fielding calls on a daily basis of people coming in or moving back from BC. And so that is also, I think, affecting our inventory.
Yeah, and I guess the thing to keep in mind is from people, especially in Vancouver and Toronto, right? you know, the prices here are incredible compared to those markets, right? So it makes
That's right.
makes it really attractive, doesn't it? Yeah.
That's right. And from what I understand with the provincial government, I mean, they're really trying to bring people here for work. We do have a labor shortage in many of the markets. And so our net migration, I think, is going to double. It doubled from 2020 to 2021. And I think it's going to double again in 2022. So these builders I'm working with and registering clients, they have wait lists piles deep of people looking for lots. And if you want a lot hold on some of these builders, you're putting a hold on a lot that's already on hold.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Let's talk just a couple of quick things, Tanya. So if a buyer comes to you and seeking advice, what would be your advice under these conditions that you've just described?
Well, my agents are dealing with new buyers coming to the market on a daily basis. And what we're telling them is we're showing them the stats. We're showing them that if you're pre-approved up to 900, then you need to look in the 750 range to 800 range for a detached home, knowing that it is going to be bid up significantly. We talk about the process. You don't have 24 to 48 hours to make a decision anymore. You're going in for 30 minutes to 45 minutes to see that house, and you're making a decision if you're going to write an offer very quickly, depending on when offers are being presented. We're seeing unconditional offers again. So we're preparing our buyers. You have to have your financing lined up with the bank, and also having those tough discussions with them, Mario, on their comfort level of writing, unconditional on a 20, 30, 40, 50-year-old home.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen this really quite yet in the condo market. So buyers are still able to have review of condo docs and inspection if they want, subject to financing. But in the detached home sector, and now kind of moving into some of those duplex sectors, we're definitely seeing unconditional offers again.
Okay. And tell me just on the flip side of it, what are you telling sellers these days?
Well, I have a saying right now that I actually got from a client, that you can price a home too high, but you can't price it too low right now, because if you price it in relatively where it needs to be for a detached home, the buyer is going to dictate what your home is worth. So instead of trying it at $819.9, put it at $799, open it up to a much larger group of people, and you'll probably get more money for it than if you had listed at $819.9. So pricing strategy, people obviously ask about time, because everyone thinks the spring is the best time, and we're urging our sellers, if they can, go to market now. We don't know what the spring will hold. I think it's obviously going to be, strong, but so get your home prepared. We're meeting with people now that say, well, do I need to paint this, and do I need to do this, and all of these things? And in a typical market, yes, you have to have your home selling 10 out of 10. Now, in good faith, it's hard to tell our sellers that you have to do this long list of things if you have a detached home under $1 million. So we're still giving advice that it's good to do your best to bring it to the offer, to present it. But sellers can get away with a little bit more than they used to.
Yeah, exactly. All right, super. Thanks, Tanya, for joining me again today. It's an interesting time we're heading into.
It is an interesting time, and I look forward to chatting with you, in the next couple of months to see what type of change we've seen.
You bet. All right, that was Tanya Eklund, a realtor with the Tanya Eklund Group. I'm Mario Toneguzzi, and this has been Taking Care of Business. Thanks for joining us today.